Good morning, everyone. I've missed all of you. I am doing great. Mike is doing good. First, I want to apologize for my meltdown last month. I just get a little overwhelmed sometimes, and it's just so frustrating when you see a bunch of stuff going on. And if you stay tuned to the end, I'm going to be talking about some of the frustration in dealing with the community. And I don't want to focus on negative, but I think we should all be aware of something that is very important, especially in dealing and talking about abuse survivors. So, it's important not to re-victimize them. So stay tuned to the end because I'm going to talk about that. But I have the elders' letters, so thank you, Atlantis, very much. And we are expecting the latest elders manual that is supposed to be coming out this month anytime soon. And I want to thank all of you so much for the cards and phone calls and emails and the words of support and love. And you all are great. We appreciate it so much. And like I said, I'm doing much better. Just needed a little bit of a break. But then it just starts burning in your gut and you just got to get back in the fight, right? All right, announcements and reminders. May 2023. For elders, disaster preparedness. As a reminder, the body of elders should annually review local arrangements for disaster preparedness. This should be done even if natural disasters are not common in your area. Since man-made disasters can occur without warning, the review should include confirming contact information, verifying the arrangements for those with special needs, and planning to secure congregation records. See, that's the most important thing. Safely assisting others. There are times when elders and ministerial servants will need to organize local congregation volunteers to assist victims of an emergency or disaster in their own congregation or nearby. In such cases, local congregation volunteers should be provided with reminders regarding the importance of working safely. See the Shepherd the Flock book, chapter 26, paragraph 11. Please review the task instruction cards available on JW Hub under Documents, Forms, Disasters. It is also important to remain familiar with the standards contained in Working Together Safely. Reporting on disasters and emergencies. In addition to reporting disasters and incidents and injuries occurring at Kingdom Hall or a facility rented for a theocratic event, please promptly inform your circuit overseer when you become aware of a large-scale or highly publicized emergency directly affecting publishers. Okay, for coordinators of the bodies of elders, announcements for congregations. Please ensure that the announcements for congregations are read at the next midweek meeting and thereafter posted on the information board for at least 1 month. For life and ministry meeting overseers, midweek meeting part, are you prepared for an economic crisis? Please ensure that the elder who is assigned the midweek meeting part, are you prepared for an economic crisis, during the week of May 8, 2023, is prepared to read to the congregation the information provided on the following page. Also ensure that he is prepared to share with the congregation any additional information directed by the body of elders regarding disaster preparedness. For service overseers, annual items. Each congregation should enter its own request for annual items for 2024 no later than Monday, May 29, 2023. The quantity requested from the branch office should reflect the actual quantity requested by publishers. Then they have the information to be read to the congregation during the part, are you prepared for economic crisis? I'm not going to read all this because it's kind of the same thing they told the elders, but they all also are wanting contact information. So, I'll read this sentence. When selecting your emergency contact, please inform the person that you will be providing his contact information to the congregation elders. This contact information should consist of the individual's name and minimal information on the best way to reach him, such as a phone number or an email address. After informing your emergency contact that you will provide his information to the elders, please give that information to the secretary. If you have any questions, please contact the secretary. But up here at the top, I want to mention to make sure your secretary has up-to-date emergency contact information for the publishers. Your emergency contact should be someone you are likely to contact in the event of a disaster or other emergency. Additionally, it is preferred that your emergency contact live outside of your immediate area so that he is not likely to be affected by the same disaster or emergency. The emergency contact does not have to be one of Jehovah's Witnesses. I find that interesting. So let's just say, for example, that my mother decides to make me her contact information. I know that's highly unlikely. Being the eldest kid, how's that going to work out when she is not allowed to talk to me and is to consider me dead? Yeah. All right, last page of this is to the congregation. Annual items for 2024 will be made available for download beginning in October 2023. Publishers who require hard copy editions may now request the following items from the Literature Servant: the 2023 Watchtower and Awake Bond Volume, Examining the Scriptures Daily 2024, and Watchtower Publications Index 2023. Bethel Service. In view of the theocratic expansion work taking place worldwide, there is an urgent need for young single brothers who are available to offer their services to assist with Bethel work or large-scale theocratic construction projects. If you are between the ages of 19 and 35 and have been baptized for at least 1 year, we encourage you to submit an application to become a member of the Worldwide Order, special for full-time servants of Jehovah's Witnesses. Yeah, they need more slaves. This was interesting. Google Assistant support for JW.org. As of June 2023, Google Assistant will no longer support voice commands for JW.org because of a permanent change by Google. This change will not affect the JW.org skill for Amazon Alexa. All right, now I can't find my glasses, so hopefully I can read this. My arms are long enough. All right, and I am sorry I have taken so long to get this information out. There is a Deaf XJW world group on Facebook, and if I can find it, I will put the link down below. But they have set up a Facebook for Deaf XJWs. And even if you PMOs or JW, Deaf JWs want to join that, yeah. And I did get an email here from someone, thank you very much. I'm not sure if I would classify him as a PMO, because I think his family knows. But it was interesting because he says, I wanted to share this information. My daughter told me this weekend they had their circuit assembly on Saturday, and my daughter was at the Friday Pioneer meeting. According to the overseer, he said that most congregations here in the U.S. are reporting only 35% of people are attending meetings in person. That's a really low number. So I have to ask. I know of several PMOs that are not going back and they're staying on Zoom. So I want to ask, so does that mean that 65% of Jehovah's Witnesses are actually PMOs? It makes me wonder, wouldn't that be great? That would be phenomenal. The rest are tuning in on Zoom, so they are going to start merging congregations so that they will have more people physically at the Kingdom Hall. I find that hilarious. I do too. I do too. All right, some other news here. Philip Brumley, this is Watchtower's lawyer, his main counsel. He and Watchtower are going to have to pay over $154,000 fine to the court in Montana. And I want to thank everybody who sent me the court documents on that. Now I'm going to put all of this in a file share link and put it down below. So grab these while you can. And it appears he didn't quite tell the truth. Big surprise. Big surprise. Also in other news, and I want to thank Jan, Norway, Watchtower in Norway has lost their appeal case, and not only did they lose and they will be deregistered in this area, but they have to pay the state's legal fees, which equal approximately $25,000 in US dollars. So that is good news. And also, let's see how to word this so it doesn't upset YouTube. We know the governing body was pushing certain medical treatments and jabs. And even their elders, they were requiring them to get it in order to attend their elders' meetings. Well, it appears that several JWs and PMOs are having serious side effects, and there have even been some deaths. And, you know, this isn't good, because would that give some of these people standing in a legal case against the governing body for pushing it? And even Bethel members, they had to get it in order to stay at Bethel. Special pioneers, circuit overseers, all of them. So because they were recommending this, pushing it, and requiring it, it was a mandate, I think there's legal standing there. My humble opinion. And I'm not against any, you know, medical treatment or anything like that. Anybody who wanted it, hey, it's none of my business. None of my business. But when you force it and make it a mandate, then that's when I have to speak up. Now, speaking of speaking up, I want to mention, and I want to thank Sarah so much for giving me permission to cover this, because I think this is so important, and I have seen this happen over and over through the years. Shelley, BCG, who gave her testimony at the Australian Royal Commission, someone wanted to write a book about her story, and she was pitching a fit, and she's like, it's my story, I just don't want anybody writing a book, and if anybody's going to write about it in a book, it would be me, which is her right. It's her story. And you wouldn't believe the attacks she was getting from the boys club and a very regressive elder. And we have always said we need to take their feelings into consideration. And I had an issue with two people in Australia. I don't think they're activists. I'm not going to call them activists. I don't think they're advocates, because you don't turn around and attack survivors and then call yourself an advocate, just like Lloydie. You know, you cannot call yourself an advocate for these abuse survivors and then turn around and attack them. And even the couple in Australia, they even took two of them to court, and all they wanted was to just take down these stories off of their website, and they took them to court, you know. And it's like, oh my God. And it's so frustrating for me, because in like what happened with Sarah, and I'll get into that in a minute, because we need to protect these abuse survivors. They're our heroes. We need to protect their privacy, their information. Now, there's a little something called the GDPR. If I got those RP, I'm not exactly sure. But it's a privacy law that was passed in Europe. And you cannot post, you cannot out a person, their personal information, and specifically anybody who has been a victim of an offense, one of these CSA offenses. And unfortunately, this happens in this community. What happened to Sarah, and you can see her tweet, Lloydie Boy posted a picture of her with her name, that she was a CSA survivor, and was going to be testifying with ICSA without her knowledge or consent. And she did not follow him, so she did not know, but she was alerted by someone else. Now, what is upsetting is, she told me, she asked Lloydie nicely to take down her information because this was a violation of this law in Europe with personal information. And what did he do? Well, here you see. He tried to threaten me with libel because I said he paid into a system of abuse, yet his exposure of me as a CSA survivor without my consent is a criminal matter. He has no idea what consent means, nor the legal definition. His legal threats are meaningless. And then she has a copy of this act, publishing information which identifies a victim of sexual offense without their written consent is a criminal offense under Sexual Offenses Amendment Act 1992. So when any of us, and mostly Lloyd, you're so quick to file a lawsuit against all of us for defamation when you're actually committing crimes. And he even admitted that his cart crashing in Zagreb, Croatia, the cops showed up because it was illegal without a permit. Well, it is illegal to post a survivor's picture and name and information without their information. And I have talked to, I would take a guess of hundreds of survivors. And my biggest concern is to make them comfortable, not to put anything out that they are not comfortable with. We Skyped with an abuse survivor yesterday and told them, if you want to get your story out, great, you're our hero. In any story, even if it helps one person, it's worth it because it exposes what goes on in these religious organizations and cults. And if it can help anyone, to give them the courage, hey, you know what, I'm not alone. This happens a lot. Then it's worth getting that story out. But we want them to be comfortable. We don't need details. Whatever they're comfortable with, let them tell their story. It's their story. So, I'm going to get off my soapbox. And before I go, I just want to mention I did get my garden all tilled. I have to do it by hand because I don't have a tiller. But I got my garden all ready. And we just had snow the other day. And it's very difficult to have snow one day and then go to 75 degrees the next. Only in New Mexico. But my baby seedlings, they are doing great. Zucchini. And ready to be put out in my garden. And I'm going to thank all of you once again for all the wonderful words of support and love. And I love all of you. And message to Watchtower. Did you really think you and your trolls could get rid of me permanently? Don't count on it. You all have a wonderful week. Bye.